obsessed and so obscure. I felt my head decapitate without a sense of it all. I'm stuck between two trees.
Welcome to the 8th episode of Obsessed and So Obscure, a Matt Berry music podcast. I'm Courtney, and I'm here with Jessie.
Hi.
And Tara.
Hello.
Today we're talking about Matt Berry and the Maypoles live. This live album was released in 2015, in between the releases of Music for Insomniacs and The Small Hours, and represented a document of songs which the band intended to retire following the Kill the Wolf tour. When asked about why he decided to record a live album, Matt gave the following response.
Well, the reason behind it is we won't be playing a lot of those songs anymore, he says. So I wanted a record of them, quite literally. That was the main reason. The other one being I hadn't had the time to finish the next studio album because I was doing Toast to London. So he put this out to bridge the gap and create a copy of music we'll never play again.
It's so sad.
It
Especially
is.
for
I
us,
didn't
since
realize
we
that.
never actually got to see him play any of these songs live.
Yeah.
And I actually kind of also think it might be kind of bullshit. Like, how do you not play some of these songs? Everybody plays
take my
their
hand
best
all the
of.
time.
I think he might have a greatest hits tour in him yet, but we'll see.
The album was recorded during performances at the Green Man Festival in Wales, a show in Tunbridge Wells, and at London venues, The Garage and The Forum. The six-piece band consists of Mark Morris on acoustic guitar and backing vocals, Andy Vickery on electric guitar, Phil Scragg on bass, Cecilia Phage on backing vocals and clarinet, Graham Mann on keyboards and trombone, and James Sedge on drums and percussion. Matt does lead vocals, electric guitar, and synthesizer.
Today we're going to unpack the songs, talk about how they compare to the versions on the studio albums, and share some of our favorite Matt Berry live moments. We've also reached out to the drummer on this album, James Sedge, who was kind enough to share some of his favorite memories of touring with Matt and the Maypoles.
If you aren't aware, James is part of the Maypoles and 1/3 of Milkbone with Matt Berry and Phil Scragg. He's been a part of Matt's touring band since the Opium days. James is also a drummer on Kill the Wolf, The Small Hours, Night Terrors, and on television themes. I also believe he did some drumming on the actual Toast of London soundtrack. James is heavily involved in teaching. He teaches beginners through advanced drummers. If you'd like to learn more about James's work outside of the Maypoles and Milkbone, we'll post a link to his bio in our normal description of the episode. So James was nice enough to provide some written responses for us. So we sent him a questionnaire with some of our burning questions that we wanted to know from the tour and just in general what it's like to play with Matt and how all of the pieces fit together. So our first question to James was, tell us your favorite anecdotes about touring with Matt and the Maypoles, and what are your favorite memories of being on the road? His response was that he started playing with Matt in 2009. He said it was always fun and interesting on the tour bus with Matt. He would read road signs, etc. in the Toast voice. Some of the stuff we heard ended up in the show. Long chats about favorite bands on the bus. Wearing the animal masks on our 2010 encore of Jesus Christ Superstar was a bit of fun. Standing backstage at the Green Man Festival watching the amazing Patti Smith. We had to follow her. Playing at the Albert Hall was a highlight. Playing the James Bond theme at the Kentish Town Forum with Bond composer David Arnold. 2 hours notice, no rehearsal.
That's so cool. I especially love that they followed Patti Smith. Like, she's really awesome, so.
Yes, and James was he was very nice, and he provided a couple of pictures to us from the tour bus when they are wearing the animal masks, and I've seen these pictures before. James is a very good band historian. He posts a lot of pictures on his Instagram and Facebook, so if you go through, you'll see some of the pictures that he sent to us. Also, he has a YouTube channel, and he does drum cam videos, which are really awesome because it's like you're sitting on the stage watching the show. And, you know, obviously they're a little bit drum heavy because it's right next to the drum kit, but the sound quality is really good, and it's just a really cool perspective, and you feel like you're part of the actual show being on stage. So we'll post a link to that YouTube channel also. I would definitely check it out if you want to see some live performances.
So we asked him, how did you initially connect with Matt and start collaborating? He says, I was contacted by guitarist Andy Vickery. I was his old music college teacher, actually, in 2008, and he told me about Matt. I was already a fan of Matt because of Garth Marenghi's Dark Place show, so I said I'd love to get involved. A year later, I got the call.
And when we asked, how would you describe your own style, and how does it complement Matt's songwriting, James told us, I love to play well-written songs, so it was fantastic to work with Matt. I also have a love of playing experimental music, so it felt very natural to play on some of Matt's longer songs that have many sections, like The Pheasant, Solstice, and Night Terrace, some of which we'll be talking about during this podcast.
Yes, we will. We asked, how does the energy of the audience influence your playing? And he said, at first, in 2009 and 2010, some of the audience thought it was a comedy show, so we had to win them over by playing so well, they forgot the catchphrases. It's been such a buzz playing to Matt's fans. We know that this was an issue in the past, that when Matt initially started playing live, there was comedy elements mixed into it because I think that's what he thought the fans were expecting to see. But then, eventually he took all that out because it is about the music. It's not about the comedy when it's real music.
Well, his early stuff was a bit jokier, right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel had more kind of comedic tones in it and all that stuff. But yeah, I think that's so awkward. Like, imagine going up and playing and people are just kind of staring at you like, where the hell is like
where's the punchline?
One track lover, and yeah, like where are all the punchlines? So
yeah.
And stand-up is so not what Matt does. It's so far from his offstage personality.
Agreed.
We asked, what song would you love to cover in concert? He responded, we have usually only done one cover per tour that is decided on the bus on the way to the first show. I'd love to play the World in Action theme from TV Themes.
Yeah, it's a really cool song. We would love to hear that if there's ever another tour, ever.
You know what? I don't think we would be choosy if there was ever another tour. We would just love to play love to hear whatever Matt wants to play.
That's true.
Okay, yeah. So anyways, we also asked him, because you have to ask every drummer, who's your favorite drummer? He says Phil Collins in the 1970s with Genesis, Brand X, Eno, and in the 1980s with John Martin.
And we asked James a bunch more questions, and we're going to be using them in later episodes. He gives us some answers about what it was like recording The Small Hours, and then we talked to him a bunch about Milkbone too, so just stay tuned for that.
Do we want to start talking about the live album songs?
I mean, I guess that's what we're here for, right?
That is kind of our MO.
Oh, sometimes I forget. I haven't gone on nearly enough tangents yet. We didn't talk about the album cover.
We didn't talk about the album cover. We didn't talk about the tweet from years ago where Matt said that he is playing the organ, not pulling an organ, but for him the end result is quite the same.
Oh my God. I can't imagine why he deleted his Twitter history. It baffles
It was great.
me
It was wild.
every day why he deleted that.
Some wild shit.
God.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the album, I do believe it came out in black, but Courtney and I both have the translucent blue, which is stunning. I love it. This is one of those that when I started getting collecting Matt's albums, I was like, I love the live album, but I feel like it's not one that I have to have on vinyl. Like, I don't have to buy the record. And then, so meanwhile, I do have it, and I've also bought everything else, and now I may or may not have things in different colors. Yeah, it's become a real problem. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
It's a real slippery slope. So the cover,
gone a little overboard, maybe.
the cover photo and the back photos of the band, the individual band photos, were done by Ben Meadows, and then the inside gatefold is a photo by Gerard Georgie Cole, who I know works with Ben Meadows, and I believe he has directed Matt's music videos. Yeah, so it's really cool. I one day just stumbled upon the original photo of this, and I was a little confused at first because the actual original photo, Matt's wearing a red flannel shirt, not a blue shirt. There's no blue in the photo at all. The whole thing is like a red tone to it. Phil Scragg is in the background, and I was like, wait a minute, is that the actual photo for the live album cover? And lo and behold, with you do a little bit of creative cropping, it's that. And I don't know, I'm a kind of photography nerd, so I got super excited about that because I just cropped down that one and I made it look exactly the same.
You got really excited. I remember chatting with you on Messenger, and You were geeking out.
I really was. I geek out a lot, though, so it doesn't take a lot for me to geek out, but for some reason that really, I think it's just because I just stumbled on it completely randomly, and I was like, well, wait a minute, that's the cover art. Like, I never would have suspected that photo was the actual, creative cropping and just tint it blue, and you've got an album cover, so well done on that, Ben Meadows.
And I think the cropping might have been born out of necessity, because in the original photo, you can actually see a logo on his shirt. It's got like a Tommy Hilfiger logo on the pocket. And I'm sure they probably cropped it just to eliminate that. And it actually really enhances the photo.
Yeah, it's just cropped. He is front and center as the main focus. All of the background is cropped out of it. It's just got some play of light. And it's really cool. It's a beautiful photo. It looks better in blue than it did in the original with it wasn't a red tint. It just had like a red tone to it because that's the color shirt and I think the light for the background, but the blue just makes it look so fresh and different.
I approve the changes.
Yes, sure, I just sent those to Tara. She's like, wait, there's an original photo? Yeah.
I'm sure Ben Meadows will be relieved.
I know, right? Because he's always looking for my seal of approval.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think now it's time to talk about the music.
All right, let's start with the Innkeeper song.
I'm feeling bad, but don't let me die. Must be the season, how my belfry's fried. I'm just an innkeeper, I sing you my song. The words don't scat, the melody's wrong. Yeah. For things were bad, now they're just plain worse. It's scary at hotels to pinch my purse. If he says jump, you'd better ask how high. He plays his pipe, he's such a well-meaning guy. How the hell can I compete? Stock exchanges, balance sheets, all I feel is misery. I'm the beast, no liberty. Now my back's against the wall. I don't hear no hope at all. With no way to make the bread, shit, I may as well be dead. Dead.
Yay! The Innkeeper song!
One of the few acknowledgments of ADBC in Matt's catalog.
Yeah, like, that's the thing. I was so excited to see this, because it's such a fucking kick-ass song, and the whole thing is kick-ass, and, like, he should just perform the whole thing at some point. That'd be very
live.
pleased.
Yes, a live version of the AD. Okay, so for those who don't know, the Innkeeper song comes from ADBC rock opera that it's kind of a spoof of Jesus Christ Superstar. It aired on BBC 3, I believe, in December 2004, just before Christmas. And it was written by Richard Ayoade and Matt Berry, and Richard Ayoade directed it. It's supposed to be set in 1972, so it's got that, like, real cheese, low-budget, retro vibe to it. And it's just freaking amazing. Everybody's in it. It's so good.
If you love British comedy from that era, and I think we all love British comedy from that era, and you haven't seen ADBC, like, pause this podcast. We'll wait. Go rush to YouTube. Do yourself a favor. It's a half hour long. It's just mind-blowing.
Yes.
And like Jessie said, it's got everyone who is doing British comedy from that era.
Yeah.
Julian Bennett from the Mighty Boosh is in it. Noel Fielding has just a very minor cameo in it. Matt Lucas is in it. He plays God. It's so good. It's just so good. And it's on YouTube. You can go watch it for free. There's no excuse not to. Do it.
Yeah, we watched every Christmas, pretty much.
Still working on getting my husband to watch it. I think he's drawn a line at Matt in his life, and that's where the demarcation is. He's not up for Jesus
really
Christ
good,
Superstar spoofs.
That's so funny.
Wow.
I mean, I guess for anybody that's a fan of Jesus Christ Superstar 2, the music, some of it's very similar. And it's just, I don't know, it's really good. It's an ode to it. It's a love letter to it, but it's also very much a spoof. I don't know how
The attention
else
to detail is just incredible.
It really is. So good. Anyways, I don't know what else to say. I mean, we can't compare it to anything because the only other version is actually in the movie. So, I mean, the live version is so much better because they actually made it like a legit rock song, which is so cool. And it just doesn't get much better than the Innkeeper song for me.
It's kind of building off what Jessie said. It's really kind of cool to hear how they took this original, which does sound in a lot of ways like a show tune. Mm-hmm. Like if you watch it in the context of ADBC, it's still a great song, but it definitely has that like kind of more poppy feel. This definitely feels like a rock song. Like Jessie said, the vocals are faster and deeper than the original. There's a stronger funk influence in the guitars. It's an interesting choice that the female backing vocals are really prominent in the original and from the musical. Yeah. And on the live version, the female backing vocals don't come in until the second verse.
That's right.
Which is sort of surprising given how much Matt tends to, utilize Cecilia Phage's awesome vocals in his live show, but they kind of minimize them a little bit here. And it just has this really frantic, really energetic feel that the original doesn't. So I wouldn't say better, I would say different, but it definitely works as an intro to the live album just to pump you up.
Yeah, and his voice is so beautiful in this. Like, it's lovely.
It really is.
I think that's the thing overall with the live album. This is the album that I listened to really first because it's kind of a mix of everything, and I didn't intend it to be that way. I just happened to come upon it first for some reason, and obviously fell in love with the live version of Take My Hand, which I'll talk about later. But his voice is so much deeper singing live on this than it was in Kill the Wolf, than it was in Witch Hazel. And I feel like with his later albums after this, it kind of stayed more around this pitch, that it's a little bit deeper, it's more natural, it doesn't sound as forced. I don't know if he had any vocal training or if he just did, got more used to singing at a lower register, but that's one of the things that I really, really, really love about this because it's such a contrast to the first two. It just sounds so good in general, but yeah, that deep voice really works.
I have a theory that he quit smoking and that made his voice more clear and more resonant.
I don't know. I'm not clear. I don't think we've ever gotten a clear answer of what his smoking history was. I think kind of everybody over there smokes at some point, so it's much more accepted than it is here, but I don't know.
There is that Two Shots podcast where he talks about being so poor that he couldn't afford cigarettes. So we know that at some point in the past, he was a smoker.
Yeah. True.
He's present day, it's a question mark. If you've ever seen Matt smoke, give us an anonymous tip. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
And when? We need a date.
Out.
When, context.
So it fits with the
what his brand
timeline or
is.
not.
If you confirm that he has quit smoking, please also confirm that. I very much hope that's the case.
We're normal. These are normal things to want to know.
We're totally normal. There's nothing wrong with being concerned for his health and hoping that he's no longer smoking. Well, at least at some point.
So I'm not going to shame you, Matt. You can tell me.
God.
Didn't a bug almost fly in your mouth when you were smoking yesterday?
A bug did fly in my mouth when I was smoking yesterday because I was on my phone and it was dark and I almost puked. It was really nasty.
Well, maybe that should be a sign.
I think that's a lesson.
Yeah, that's fair.
I agree. Anyway, so Innkeeper song.
Moving on, please.
Innkeeper song, I gave it 5 stars. Right off the bat.
Yeah, I do too. I love that it's on the album, and I love that it starts the album, and I just love that he did it.
I think I might be the naysayer again during this recording, because there's not a whole lot of 5-star songs for me on the live album. We'll break it down. I'll talk about my opinions. There are many, but I would give this a solid 4 stars.
Hey, that's good.
Okay.
It's good. It's not one for the ages.
That she didn't say
good.
5?
I'm really upset that she didn't say 5.
You thought we were all gonna this was the one that we were gonna join up on and all agree.
Kind of hurt my feelings, to be honest.
We'll see if it happens. It could happen.
Jessie, I'm about to break your heart.
Oh, I see where this is headed. Okay. All right. All right, let's keep going. Moving on to So Low. That was, of course, on Witch Hazel originally.
I got
think he nails it. Nope, I think it's great. And then the little, like, fun, quick little guitar solo, and he's like, that's it.
That's it.
Like, it's pretty adorable. I love it.
I love his little anecdotes throughout, yeah.
Yeah.
It's little interjections.
Mm-hmm. So I don't think that this version is a whole lot different than the album version. So my criticism of the original is that it's too shouty, and it's definitely still shouty on this, but I think it does work better being that it's live, because the music is louder, the bass is deeper. I do think it sounds better live than the original, and yeah, that guitar solo by Andy Vickery is so freaking amazing.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yep.
Yeah, this one falls a little bit flat for me, and I like this song a lot, and I like the garage rock feel of this song, but I don't know, it just feels like a little low energy for what it should be, and I think that my opinion might be a little spoiled by the live version on Live from a Festival, which really just has this like pounding, distorted, kind of frenetic energy to it. This one just sounds a little more distant. The pace is a little faster than the album version, but still pretty mid-tempo. I do love that guitar solo, which really heightens the tension of the song, but if I'm listening to a live album, I want to just feel like I'm there in the front row, and I just don't get that from this song.
You know, now that you mention that, it kind of, there's certain songs that bands sing that they sing so much that you can tell that they're getting a little bit tired of it. And I'm wondering if that's part of it, that it was one of those that they just did it a lot and it's starting to get a little old, and maybe he's just not putting as much oomph into it. But I feel like that song sort of always sounds a little bit like that to me.
Some of those songs where I kind of like the idea of it more than the execution.
Yeah. I gave it 3 stars.
I give it 4.
3 stars sounds about right to me.
It's not my favorite.
I just love this song. I really love this song, so yeah. 4 out of 5.
So next comes October Sun, which was originally on Kill the Wolf. First of all, I think it's really amazing that this song can even be done in a live setting, because there's just so much to it.
Yeah.
They did it live. They simplified it just ever so slightly with taking out some of the sound effects, but it's like overall just completely keeps the integrity of the studio recording. It sounds a little bit less folky to me than it does on the album version. There's heavier guitars and drums. It kind of, I think because of that, it kind of, to me, sounds more like a rock ballad or an anthem, a rock anthem. I really, really, really love both of them, but they're different. But I don't know if I like one better than the other. I really like both versions a lot.
I agree, Jessie, with everything that you said about maintaining the integrity of the song and really replicating in a lot of ways what's on the album. And honestly, for me, that's why this live version doesn't really work, because it really just duplicates what's on the album, does it really impressively. Like you said, the production on the song, the original album version of this song, is pretty elaborate, and it's pretty cool how they duplicate the multi-track vocals with these backing vocal harmonies and how it has that slow build that you get in the album version. But it's also a little boring because you're just getting what's on the album. There's not really any new interpretation of it, at least not to my ears.
Yeah, I'm surprised to hear that. I was really interested to see what you had to say about this because I thought you'd like be really into it. Interesting.
I think it is. I think it's different enough to make it a really amazing standalone, because I do think it's more rock than folk, which I don't know if that was the intention. It's kind of hard to avoid that when you're recording, when you're playing with a band and not on your own and playing whatever instruments you want. But I think it does stand on its own just because I like the rock version of it. I think it's really cool. I don't think it's better, but I also don't like it any less. I gave both. I think it's a solid 5-star song.
It's a great song, and there's no getting around the quality of the songwriting. And I can definitely see how this would be amazing to be in the audience for, and to just kind of let the like chanting vocals and the guitar wash over you and kind of just feel that energy with a crowd of people. But to listen to on an album, I don't know, it kind of becomes background music for me, and the original definitely doesn't. I'm getting some dirty looks right now.
No, I was just thinking.
No, never.
I was just thinking because I was like, I never really consider the live album as like, I'm not generally a huge fan of live albums. It's not something that I seek out, but I've never experienced his music live. And I also really love this album because I think in so many ways it's so different than the original recordings, but that they just really keep the integrity of the original recordings. Like, I've seen Paul Simon live twice. I saw him with Simon and
Humble
Garfunkel
brag over here
in 2004 when they
it
did
humble?
the reunion.
I don't think
this
it's
is
humble.
not
I think
humble.
it's just a brag.
And I saw him just, not too long ago, a couple of years ago. And the thing about Paul Simon is when you listen to his live, or even his live albums, like even going back to like his concert in the park that he did in the 90s in Central Park, like I absolutely freaking love Paul Simon. But he changes the arrangements of his songs so much every single time he plays them that they're barely recognizable sometimes. So like when I went to see the Simon and Garfunkel was pretty straight on because it sort of had to be, but like when I went to see him this past time, I was like, some of the songs, it took me a minute just to even know what he was playing. And it's not because he didn't sound good, it's just because he changed the arrangement so much. And that's what I like so much about this album, is that it didn't change the arrangement. They did what they had to do to make it playable live, but they kept the integrity of the original song and just made it sound so good for how it could be live, if that makes any sense.
That completely makes sense. I think it just kind of comes down to preference, because I really do love when artists change up the arrangements and give us a side of the song or an interpretation of the song that we haven't heard before. Like, to me, that's exciting. And so I think that's just something I overall want more from this album.
Yeah, I can see that. I definitely get that that's a personal preference. And to an extent, I agree with you. But I think when I'm going to see a live show, I want to be able to recognize what I'm hearing, too. So, like, to an extent, change it up, add some, extended instrumentals in the middle and stuff like that. That's awesome. Jam it up a little bit, but keep the integrity mostly the same, So I think, they could have maybe done more to rearrange it, but also these songs were still fairly new when they did this live album, so.
That is true.
Yeah, no, it pisses me off when I go to a concert and, like, they change the song. It makes me so angry. I went to a Justin Timberlake concert, and it was like the hit song he had at the time, and he like changed the arrangement of everything, and I have still not gotten over it, and it was like 5 years ago, and I don't even like Justin Timberlake, or like, so it just like pisses me off. Like, play the song, do some like funkies in the middle, like, draw it out, like make it funkier, but fucking play the song. So that's why I think I really, really like this version. Because it was like, I'm so impressed when I like first heard it, because I'm like, holy crap, like this would be so difficult to bring together like all of the different elements, and I thought they just like rocked it so hard and like it was flawless. So I can't not give it like a 4.75 out of 5. I think it's really good, but I think it's interesting that we all have very different takes on what makes a live performance good. But to me, like, it brings me there. Like, this album, and I'm not a huge fan of live albums. I don't like when they go off and do different tangents and whatever, but this album, because I've never seen him live, and I've just, like, wanted to so bad for so long that, like, I kind of, like, immerse myself in this, and try to like experience in that way. And I listen to a lot of his live stuff on YouTube and all that too, because I just like to daydream that I'm there, and this is a really good song. Good version.
4.75 stars. So Courtney, what did you give this one?
Well, Tara, first of all, I have to say that the first group I ever saw live was NSYNC, and the second and third groups I ever saw live were NSYNC.
Okay.
So I'm feeling
I could
very
totally
connected with you right now.
I could totally beat this, guys. You want to hear a super random tangent?
Yes, always.
We haven't gone on any, so let's do it.
Right. The first the first concert that I ever went to, New Kids on the Block, in 5th grade. And I was a mega fan of New Kids on the Block. So that was my first concert.
Really?
And then when they did a reunion freaking 10 years ago, 12 years ago, whenever they did their first reunion tour, I was like, so there. I don't know why. I'm not a New Kids on the Block fan anymore. I just was like, I think it was a nostalgia thing. I don't think I'd listened to them in like 25 years. I have no idea. Anyway, so I went with my friend, and it was New Kids on the Block, and then opening for them was Natasha Bedingfield, and then there was a third opener, the first opening act, who we'd never heard of before. We didn't even know there was going to be a third opening act. So, third opening act, first person on stage, was this weird woman comes out in a black unitard and a motorcycle and a full-length mirror. And her name? Lady Gaga. And we're like, who the hell is this person? We're like, Lady Gaga? Who the hell is this? So I think she sang Just Dance and Poker Face. I literally do not even remember. I think those were the two songs that she sang. 2 days later.
Yeah, why would you care, right? If you hadn't heard them before.
Right, exactly. We're like, all right, next. 2 days later, we hear Poker Face on the radio, and she's a megastar. From that moment on, she was a megastar. We saw her 5 minutes before she became a superstar. And we had no idea who she was. Yeah, anyway, that's the end of my random tangent for today.
I thought we were too young for New Kids on the Block. Like, I remember watching, they had like an animated show, right? Am I making that up? I'm pretty sure.
It doesn't surprise me if they did.
I think you're right.
Yeah. I thought we were like a little bit too young. Like, I was into like Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, the Moffats. Any Canadian listeners out there will holler at me about the Moffats.
I've never heard of Moffats.
Blank faces here.
I'm older than you guys are, though.
Yeah, we're the same age, Tara. We're both the NSYNC generation.
Yeah. I'm the New Kids on the Block generation.
Yeah, like my first concert was Alanis Morissette. So
that's a really excellent first concert.
Jagged Little Pill tour. Like, what? I was like 10 or something. It was crazy. I was like, yeah, Alanis.
Tara, you'll like this because Canadian solidarity, but my first rock concert was the Bare Naked Ladies.
That's so cool.
I was very, very into
I do
1
love
week.
them.
I saw them in
It's like their worst song.
I like that song. I saw them at Busch Gardens at the Band's Brews and Barbecue. That they were really good. They don't deserve to be like a theme park band, but I thought they were good.
One of those NSYNC shows that I saw, opening for Destiny's Child at Six Flags Over Texas in Arlington.
What? That's almost as good as Lady Gaga. That's awesome.
God, that's so late 90s. Is that so late 90s?
Shaquille O'Neal was opening for NSYNC.
Doing what?
Yeah,
rapping. He had a short-lived go at a rap career.
Did he really? What?
And the kicker, the tickets were totally free. It was a promotional concert for a radio station for Kiss FM in Dallas.
That's so cool.
I don't remember how I got them. I'm sure I did something embarrassing for them.
I'm going to be Googling about Shaq's rap career after his
that must have been super short.
You'll go down a rabbit hole.
Oh my gosh. I don't know where we are. Oh, I know where we are.
You guys need to give your votes, I think, for October Sun.
Oh, I said 5 stars.
3.
Hell yeah. Okay. That's how it goes.
And now, the best song in the history of good songs. Take My Hand from Witch Hazel.
It's not too far from here, though I don't know you, but you don't know me. I just had
show. We will definitely hear this when, I'm not saying if, I'm saying when. I'm putting the hope out there. We are going to see Matt Berry, all of us together. And he's going to wave at us for sure, because he'll know exactly who we are. He'll be like, it's the podcast girls. And he'll do like finger guns. Yeah, no, definitely. I'm
really
grounded in reality for sure.
All planned out. I like your optimistic thinking though, that not if, but when.
Manifesting
Gets
it.
me through the day.
Anyways.
But I'm sure he plays this all the time, because we've heard so many live versions of this.
You'd have to. This is one that you'd have to play live. But you know what? I haven't really listened to much of I haven't really watched a lot of videos or anything from the Small Hours tour, and I really don't know if he did play this. I don't know what he played during those tours. He did play it?
So
he did. There's some videos from it, I'm pretty sure.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Because...
And I went on setlist.fm or whatever the hell it is, because I am obsessed with setlists. Don't know why. I'll Google setlists from concert I was from like 20 years ago. And there are not a lot of set lists from his shows. When I looked it up, because I was interested to see how often he actually plays a lot of these songs. Snuffbox, 7. Take My Hand, 7. Medicine, 6. Solo, 6. Solstice, 6. And Woman, 5. So out of all the shows that I assume he's had 7 set lists or whatever from his shows, and he must have done dozens and dozens of shows over the years. So he definitely plays these ones a lot, is kind of what I'm getting at. And also, I was really psyched because I hope that he keeps with this, because all those songs are fucking badass. And if he plays Woman, again, I know I've said this before, but I will when I see him, of course, because it's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I nearly sparked an international incident when I gave my opinion on Woman. And even I would melt if I saw him sing Woman live.
Well, yeah. I don't even think that I've seen videos of him singing that song live. I don't know. That's just one that I never really thought to look up before. I'm going to have to.
I will
They're out
send you
there.
some.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There's a few.
I will hold you to that. So Take My Hand, the live version. It was my gateway drug to Matt's music. I think I listened to this song on repeat for like 6 months, and I just couldn't get enough of it. It's a perfect song. It's romantic. It's just, I don't know. It's just so good. I can't even explain it. The main difference between the album version and the live version, and the thing that I think makes it so much better, is just the vocals. It's just, my criticism of the Witch Hazel version is that his vocals sound echoey, kind of like they're in the back. They're almost drowned out a little bit. But the live version, it's just in the front. He's belting it out, and it just sounds like a proper pop song almost. It's so good. His voice is super deep, it's super rich, and I've listened and watched so many versions of this on YouTube and stuff, and he changes up the lyrics quite a bit. Like, I don't know if he I think he just messes up the lyrics. Like, he'll add a second verse, or he'll do the same verse twice, or I don't know. It's kind of funny. I don't know if he does it on purpose. I kind of think he doesn't. It looks like it kind of throws Cecilia off every once in a while when it happens.
She's like, what are you doing, dude?
Like, he's saying this
together.
I don't know. It's funny. Like, he messes up his own song on a regular basis. It's
His
charming.
signature song, no less.
His signature song, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't have to say anything else about it, because I think I've made it abundantly clear that this is my all-time favorite song, favorite version of Matt's, and I don't have anything else to say about it.
Is this the favorite version?
Yeah. Well, just live. The live version. But this particular one is the one that was the one I absolutely fell in love with.
Okay. I don't think it's my favorite live version.
Well, that's fine. Doesn't have to be.
Yeah, I'm allowed to be.
I mean,
wrong,
I listened to it before I went deep diving for live performance videos.
Yeah.
So, there are other versions of it that I really like, but I don't. I mean, this is
one, you fell in love with it.
pretty
I totally
perfect.
get it.
Yeah.
There's a big pause there, and
It
she's
was
like,
so
I gotta
big.
do this.
I was like preparing myself emotionally for what's going to come next.
It's okay.
I might have to mute myself.
So
Turn away.
Jessie and I have talked about this song, and I know that this was really a big part of how you became such a fan of Matt's, and how you fell in love with his music, and how we became friends through that fandom. So we probably wouldn't be here talking on this podcast if it wasn't because of this live version of Take My Hand. And so I appreciate all that this song means to you and what it represents for you. And
Rip off the Band-Aid, Courtney.
Yeah, but come on.
Yeah, the live version's not that great.
Poor Jessie.
That's okay. It's okay.
My favorite
It's like
thing
how
about
I felt
Take
when
My...
she shit-talked Woman. You can feel it now. It hurts you deep down.
It's like a knife. Sorry.
Yeah.
One day you're gonna stab me in the heart the way I've stabbed both of you. It will come around.
We can only hope.
feel
I don't
confident.
think so. I just...
Um,
I'll get over it.
What I really love about the album version of Take My Hand, and those of you who are sitting with your notepad taking notes on our opinions of each song will remember from the Witch Hazel episode that I really love the production on this song. Like, that is why this song works for me, is that elaborate production, the sound effects, the way it builds, the way his voice is just another instrument in the song, and how it kind of sits low in the mix and just becomes this wall of sound. And you lose that in the live version. It's overall softer, more mellow, which is fine, but it just doesn't really have the same impact for me. Instead of that elaborate build-up on the album version, you get this kind of solo piano. There's nothing wrong with it, but it just doesn't have that same impact on me. And that's really all I can say.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
She hates you now. I can just tell.
Never, never, never. This is why we do this, because we all have different opinions.
Yep.
It'll
is
take
good.
me some
It's
time
good
to
that
get over
happened.
it, though. It'll take me some time.
You'll be okay. What's your score, Jessie? Is it going to be like 1,000
Oh,
out of
it's
5?
like, it's not even a number.
Yeah.
There's no number high enough. I mean, in human terms, I guess I'll just give it like 1 billion stars, even though that's like on the low end of how I feel about it. Yeah. I don't know.
That's cute.
Yeah.
I give it 3.5.
3.5.
out of 5. I don't love
Oh, it's
this
the
live
version, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, I love the song. Like, the song is like,
2.5.
2.5.
it's not a 1.
Holy shit.
Not a 1.
Shit balls.
It's not Rain
2.5.
Came Down. It's not Jet Setter.
Aww.
I feel wounded. I feel emotionally wounded.
I knew you would.
I know.
And
Yeah.
I know.
That's why she had the big pause. She couldn't say it. She was like,
I know.
oh, how do I do this?
Can only get better now, right? It's only gonna
that
get
was
better.
the worst of it.
sure, let's go with that.
Okay.
Good. Great.
Well, the good news for me is that I'm not nearly as emotionally invested in any of the rest of them as I am in that one particularly.
Perfect, then. That's...
I'm not one to be like a signature song fanatic either. Like, it's not, I mean, it happens sometimes, but I usually will find a deeper cut that I like better. But yeah, this one has stood the test of time. All right. I guess we'll move on to Sorry. This is one that the Maypoles have played live a lot. I think they've, like, going back to almost the beginning of Matt touring, they've played this song, from what I can tell from videos that I've seen. It does later appear on the Television Themes album, and this was a TV show that ran on BBC One from... This surprised me, because I'm not familiar with this show at all, and it ran from 1981 to 1982, and then from 1985 to 1988. I always thought that this was a much older show. I thought it was like from like the early 70s. I didn't know it was from the 80s.
That totally makes sense, though, because that means it's something that Matt would remember from his childhood, his early adolescence.
Yeah.
It's very true. I think also that the song itself doesn't sound like a song that would be on an 80s show. It sounds like a really groovy, I don't know, it sounds like a 70s show. Like, when I think of, like, is it 3-2-1 Contact?
Yeah.
Or
like the Electric Company.
Electric
one of those
Company, yeah, that's
shows.
what I was thinking, Electric Company. And those ran in the 70s, even the early versions of the Sesame Street theme, which started with the late 60s, early 70s.
I think 1969.
Yeah, they all have that kind of funk to them, like that groovy sound. That's what this one reminds me of. So I was very surprised when I read that it was only from the early 80s. And this song it's just an excerpt from it, the theme from Sorry, and it's by Gaynor Colburn.
But arranged by Ronnie Hazelhurst.
Yes, arranged by Ronnie Hazelhurst.
Who Matt is, as many of you know, a huge fan of.
Yes, exactly.
It's kind of cool to hear the Maypoles do... You were talking about the funk influence. This is like almost dub reggae. Like it really is pretty much reggae in the beat and some of the instrumentation, just with synth on top. And that is so not their usual wheelhouse. And and they really sell it. See, I don't hate everything. They really sell it. And it's kind of a cool transition, especially coming after Take My Hand, which couldn't really be more different as a song.
Yeah, I agree. It's their version of it especially. I just listened to a brief snippet of the original yesterday, and it's much funkier. It's groovier. It's a really good rendition of it.
Yeah.
Man, I should have listened to the original. What was I thinking?
I mean, you still can.
Research, guys.
It's still on YouTube.
Like you mentioned, this precedes the album version they would eventually record for television themes, but it really is pretty similar to what ended up on the album. Like, I listened to these side by side, and there's really not a whole lot of difference. Maybe there's a little more synth, a little more looseness on the live version, but they really just took what they were doing live for a long time and kind of put it on record. But we'll talk about that.
It was working. It works. It works. Really good.
They didn't mess with the formula.
Yeah. So what did you give this one as far as stars go?
I wrote in my notes, pleasant but inessential. It's fun. It's got a nice groove to it. I don't know if I'd miss it if it wasn't there. So I'm going to go with 3.5 stars.
You know what, though? I think it's necessary because it's a good segue. It's a segue.
It is.
Is really all it is.
Yeah, I could see that, especially considering the two songs it's sandwiched in between.
Yeah. I think it's, like you said, it's pleasant. I think it's really well done, especially after having listened to the original version. I really love what they did with it. And they've been doing it for a very long time, and I think that really works. So I think it's really cool. I gave it 4 stars.
Yeah, I think it's funky as hell, and I also gave it 4 stars.
Well, all right.
Funky as hell.
That was
you can't
your note.
see, but Tara just made a gavel motion after she said that with her pen.
And that's how you finish it. Now we're done, and gavel has gone down. We're moving on to Solstice.
Solstice.
Watch the sun dip down on the shortest day. The farmer gathers up his lambs as they skip and play. I am a man who takes heart from the seasons change. I watch the sun disappear on this solstice day.
Tara, what do you think about Solstice?
Oh, you're not gonna like it.
Oh my goodness.
I have one comment that I wrote down, and if I was at this concert, halfway through this song is when I would run for my pee break.
Oh my god. Well, we do know how you feel
long.
about long form songs.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all I have to say. It's not bad. It's really.
So we'll say that your opinion of Solstice did not change from the album version on Kill the Wolf to the live version.
I don't think it's bad. I don't think the live version's bad in any way, or just,
It's just too
going
long.
pee during it. I'm gone.
You don't like long form.
No.
It could have been 3 minutes shorter.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say like 4-minute songs.
However long it takes you to go for a pee break and then come back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Courtney, what do you think about Solstice?
I think that I am aghast at Tara's opinion. talking to all of us.
Yay!
I think this works so well. The percussion and the guitar really envelop you. The percussion really replicates the sound of wind gushing around you. It almost sounds like a storm gathering. The backing vocals, they come in at like 4 minutes 55 seconds. I took a note of it, and they're like another instrument, just leading into this really elaborate guitar solo. It's pure prog rock, and it's just totally embracing it and so immersive. And is it faithful to the original? Yeah, but in this case, it really gives you that feeling like you are there in the audience. And so I really, really love this live version.
Well, fantastic. Yeah, I said a lot of that too. The album version to me sounds much more crisp and clean, which makes sense because it was recorded in a studio. So, in Matt's studio, he recorded it on his own. So it was, he had more control over it. So that makes sense. It still sounds so good, even without as many layers of sound as the album version. It's slightly simplified, but it's not simple by any means like October Sun. It's still like a wonder that they can pull this off live and have it sound so amazing. And yeah, I totally agree that the band does such a good job of building up those layers with the volume and intensity that you just feel like it's getting more and more intense throughout. Also, just to note, it's hard to know on this one because the liner notes are very vague and we can't see what they're doing, but Matt does play the electric guitar with Andy Vickery on this one. He also plays the synth too, so he plays both instruments on this one. Overall, I think the live version is more rock than folk, kind of like with October Sun, and I do really love this version, but this is one that I like the album version better, just because I do like how crisp it is on the album version. But overall, fantastic. I give it 5 stars.
Wow, perfect 5 stars. Strong. Although still less than Take the Transcendent star system.
So you gave it 5 stars too? What did Tara give it?
I give it like a 3.5. Like, it's good. I don't hate it. So
2 5s and a 3.5.
Yeah, still a good average.
Take what I can get at this point. All right, moving on to Snuff Box.
Can't be in love if it's plastic. To live on my own just seems tragic. Tell me the cause, no big deal. I just want something that's real. So get here in time when my day comes. You thought it was gold, but it was bronze. Get here in time when my day comes. You thought it was gold, but guess it's goodbye when it's over. Nothing might change, we just older. If I see you again back in detox, keep my remains in my snuff box.
I sort of assume, I don't know. I would like to look at that thing that Tara was talking about a little while ago with the
set list.
Set list, yes, that was what I was looking for. Because I don't know how they were playing the songs. I don't know if the songs they were playing live in the same order as they appeared on the album, or if Matt curated that a little bit different for flow, because I've never seen a full live version. I think there's one recording on YouTube somewhere, and it's like all the way in the back, and it's really hard to see it. It's cool because it goes from, it has that little breakup of Sorry, then it goes to the super heavy Solstice, and then back to Snuff Box. So Snuff Box, if you're somehow not aware, was the show that Matt did on BBC 3 in 2006. It was just 6 episodes. He did it with Rich Fulcher. It was kind of a sketch show, but not a traditional sketch show. Probably that's why I like it so much, is because it wasn't a traditional sketch show. It had sketches in it, but they all sort of, I don't know, they joined though. This was the original theme song, and one of Matt's most famous songs is Snuff Box, for sure. Like, even people that aren't familiar with Matt's music know Snuff Box, which is cool.
This was also used on the soundtrack of the movie Dread back
I lost
in
my mind when that came out.
2012. Good movie. Kind of a fun action film. But yeah, it plays, if memory serves, in like the computer hacker's little lair in the building, that every time they cut back to him, the theme from Snuff Box is playing in the background, which some music supervisor is obviously a big fan of Matt's. It feels like an Easter egg, and it also feels like something that a kind of nerdy computer hacker would listen to if they also share a love for surreal British comedy.
This show, guys. I love
Fair warning, it is pitch black humor. It is as dark as humor
so
gets.
Dark. I love dark humor, and I fully understand that this show is not for everyone, but I think it is completely brilliant. I wish there was more of it because it's just so good all the way through. This is one of those where you can find a lot of the individual sketches on YouTube. But most people, I think, are familiar with Rapper with a Baby, which is actually probably one of my least favorite sketches. And also the boyfriend sketches where he just does something horrible to a girl when she says she has a boyfriend and then says fuck you and then exit scene, basically doing something really bad.
Drops whatever she's holding.
Drops whatever she's holding, right? Those sketches are so funny. But yeah, I don't know. If you like dark comedy, if you're in the United States, it's not as easy to find it. I first watched it on the Hoopla app, which is, yeah, it's connected to your public library. So you can, for me, I don't know if they're all the same, but I could watch the first 5 episodes and then I had to wait 2 months before I could see the 6th episode. And I was like, there's no way I'm waiting 2 months before I can see the last episode. So I just bought it.
The Severin Films release.
Yeah, Severin Films released it in a Region 1. We're Region 1, right? Yeah, so you can, if you don't have a Region 2 player because most Americans don't, you can watch it. So yes, it's out there. It's not as easy to find as it was, but the version that I have came with an actual soundtrack CD too, which is cool.
I definitely would put in a plug for watching the episodes in full if you can, rather than chopped up on YouTube, just because the way it's structured, there's a lot of callbacks to earlier sketches. There's a lot of sketches that flow into each other. I once saw it, I think it was on some website or comment board or something, described as a sketch show governed by dream logic, which is what I always think of when I think of Snuffbox, because it's very true.
It's a really good description.
Yeah, I wish I had come up with it.
If
you are listening, anonymous poster who came up with that description, thank you, and sorry I can't credit you.
This song was also redone by Geno Washington. He covered this song, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, which is a great cover.
Yeah. The lyrics for Snuffbox are
cryptic.
Very cryptic. And Courtney, you have a really good description of the lyrics. I thought it was really, really probably spot on to what they actually mean.
Thank you. Yeah, we were actually, just for context, we were chatting back and forth about this maybe a week or so ago as we were talking about this episode and kind of planning out what we were going to discuss. And I personally, this is actually, I don't think it's a stretch to say one of my favorite lyrical songs of Matt's. The lyrics are, like we said, a little cryptic, a little all over the place, but they really add up to more than the sum of their part. I kind of want to just read all the lyrics because they're so good. I won't subject you to that. You've heard this song. I think it's about a dysfunctional relationship. When he talks about how you thought it was gold, but it was bronze, he's describing the relationship. It wasn't as special or as valuable as we thought at the time. We thought it was gold, but it was bronze. And then that lyric, this is something we had kind of discussed among ourselves. What does it mean? What does he mean when he says, if I see you again back in detox, put my remains in my snuff box? I think, and feel free to tell me if I'm wrong, I'm sure some of you will, dear listeners, the snuff box represents kind of self-destructive behaviors, kind of debauchery. So he's saying, if I see you again back in detox, that means we're kind of back in that cycle of self-destruction, of like kind of giving into our vices. Put my remains in my snuff box means that I've just surrendered to it. His remains are not literally there, but they're there because he's kind of given himself up to that lifestyle, and his partner, who he keeps coming back to in the song, is part of that, right? They'll raise their swords high when their day comes. They just keep making their way back to each other.
I think that's a really, really good theory. Probably more than a theory of what the lyrics mean. It really is fitting. It is more than just the sum of its parts as far as it being a cool earwormy song. It's pretty deep.
We should probably mention here, though, that he does typically change the lyrics for the live version, and that's true on this live version too. That I'd mentioned the line about raising our swords high when our day comes. And he usually changes that in the live versions to, I don't want to cause no big deal, I just want something that's real.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Maybe just kind of revisionist, like maybe he just wishes that those were the lyrics he'd put in the original, and so he gets to change it up to suit his current preferences.
It could be. It seems like when he sings Take My Hand live, he kind of does that a little bit too, with the line about being weird or queer. He kind of seems to gloss over it a little bit and changes it. Sometimes it sounds like he's saying clear rather than queer. I don't know if he just regrets using that or if he's uncomfortable like singing it, or I mean, it's perfectly fine. The meaning, it's a true meaning, and it's not derogative in any way. I don't know, maybe he just regrets using it.
Weird or clear does not make any sense.
No, it doesn't. But that's what it sounds like, right? Like, even when you see
Oh,
a video,
it does.
it's what it looks like he's saying. Where he'll just mumble through it. But overall, I think this is... I really love the original theme, but this version is just really synth crazy, and I think it just takes it to a whole nother level, and I really, really love it.
Tara just shrugged.
Yeah, like, what are you gonna give it? I want to know what you think.
Oh, what I think? Or Courtney?
Did you give it? Did you
Do
give
we
it?
not
a-
want to
no,
go
I
around
didn't
at
give
the
it.
end?
I give it 5 stars. I think it's really
Sorry,
cool.
we were talking for a bit, and I'm like, what did we say? Did we already talk about this one?
You just zoned out completely.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh, I don't know if you can hear. I apologize. I just got a little puppy, and my husband has put himself into a food coma, so he's not, like, keeping it quiet. So there's also, like, barking going on, and I'm like, oh my god, I hope they can't hear it. So you can hear a little tiny adorable puppy barking. I apologize. But no, I really like this version, and I actually like, you know, when they kind of go off the rails with the instrumentals, I like it.
So I'm going to totally contradict myself here and just be a total hypocrite, because I know I was just saying how much I like it when live acts reinterpret songs and show us a different side of the song, and I do. I just don't like this interpretation that much.
Really?
Yeah,
God, you're full of surprises tonight.
feisty. I get what they're doing, and I appreciate what they're doing. But for me, what really works about the original song is the kind of disco feel. I mean, that's such an outlier in Matt's catalog. He has nothing else that sounds like the original theme from Snuffbox.
Yeah.
And it makes me wish that he would release an album of, like, disco funk music, because he's good at it. This is one of my favorite songs. I think this might actually be my most played song ever on Spotify. It was the last time I ran the metrics.
Oh, wow.
It's like a great workout song. I used to jog to it back when I would work out regularly. This version kind of takes away from that really upbeat, kind of funky feel. It's a lot more lounge. It's almost got a bossa nova feel at points. To me, it just loses that energy. I do appreciate the jam feel, and, you know, something Jessie and I were talking about recently. I'm sure many of you are aware that Matt, as of this recording, had just dropped a video for Amoeba Records where he talks about what's in his bag, what he purchased there. And one of his picks was Frank Zappa's Hot Rats sessions. And so we've both been listening to this. And actually, I was listening in my car today and kind of noticing that the jam feels a little Zappa-esque. Like, maybe I'm just searching for connections here, but it really feels like there's an influence, like he's kind of pulling in those kind of far out, like, psychedelic instrumentals.
I think a lot of times Matt wears his influences on his sleeve.
Oh, for sure.
And it wouldn't surprise me if that was one of his influences. I don't know if I can draw any direct comparisons to it. I will say that I really, really, really like Hot Rats. I think it's really awesome. I've become really into, like, that long form, jazzy, bluesy instrumentals, and I've never really listened to a lot of Zappa because I feel like the little snippets that I've heard, I didn't really think it was my jam, but I was curious about this one because he liked it so much that he bought it twice. And I know he's a big Zappa fan. I listened to it the first time yesterday, and I was like, holy crap, this is amazing. Like, sometimes music just hits you right where you need it to. Like, you were looking for something to play, and then what you were listening to wasn't really doing it. I was actually listening to Beach House first, their new album, which I really like, but it was a little bit too mellow, and it was just basically putting me to sleep. So I was like, all right, let's give this one a try and see what it's like. It was mostly just out of curiosity. I really didn't think that I was going to like it, and I really, really liked it.
I was going to send that one actually to my husband because he really likes Frank Zappa, and I like maybe 2 Zappa songs because it's a bit wacky.
Well, that's what I thought too. Well, you're not going to like it because it's long form instrumental. So I'll just say that. Yeah. If you do decide to listen to it, it's not wacky. It's like a perfect fusion of jazz and blues and funk. And it's just really good. Yeah. And it's
I'll give it a
instrumental.
listen though. Like, it's all instrumental.
I think there's like
with a few... There's like a few
The second
vocals.
song, there's a very short, weird...
Yeah, just like vocal snippets, really.
Yeah.
I'll give it a listen, though. I've been meaning to listen to all of the albums that he was just talking about the other day on that video, What's My Bag? I listened to Tennis. I didn't really like Tennis. Brian Ferry, I've already listened to that one. And then what else was there? Beach House. Was it Beach House?
Yeah,
That's
Beach
what
House.
you were talking about, right?
They're the new one, yeah. If you're interested, I don't know if we've added any of these to our playlist, but we have like a podcast companion playlist for a bunch of songs that Matt's recommended and really loves. So
we haven't added them because I haven't added full albums. I've kept it to singles only.
He mentioned that the one Zappa song, Peaches and Regalia. That was the one he said is one of his favorite songs. Probably put that on there. But if you're interested, I would check it out.
And I think we also have to note that in the middle of said Zappa-esque jam, he plays a snippet of The Empty Room, Suicide Part 4 from Snuffbox. He doesn't always really directly reference his TV work in live shows. Like as most of you are probably aware, he tends to keep his TV career and his music career kind of separate. Occasionally there's crossover like the Beatmaker song from Toast of Tinseltown. But I thought it was kind of cool and kind of fun to see him bring that into his live show.
I like when he reworks stuff to make them actual songs. Like in the Innkeeper song, obviously Snuffbox. And then Take My Hand, you could even sort of kind of say is similar. Although Take My Hand was actually conceived on Snuffbox.
When he was trying to replicate Elton John's Song for Guy without violating copyright.
Yes. So he came up with that basically on the fly, which blows my mind. But then it became a full-fledged song, and then he used it for Toast of London. So some crossover there. I gave the Snuffbox Live 5 stars, because I just love it.
I'm torn on this one because I so appreciate the intent of what they're trying to do, and I appreciate that it's different, and it just doesn't land for me. So I'll be generous and give it 3 stars. 3 stars for effort.
Oh, gosh.
I'm gonna go right in the middle with 4 stars.
Okay.
There we go, guys.
So we're all in agreement on Snuffbox then. Moving on to Song for Rosie, which was on Witch Hazel.
I'll warm you by the fire as the storm brews outside. 1, 2, pull off my shoe. 3, 4, knock on my door, safe from the rain. We won't go out again. 1, 2, pull off my shoe. 3, 4, knock on my door, Rosie. You'll always be safe from harm.
I remember that Courtney didn't have reviews for this song the first go round. I really love the album version of it. The thing I love about the album version, it's just really cute and sweet. I know Courtney mentioned that it did sound like a nursery rhyme, which I really agree with. That was a very good description. The live version is a little heavier, obviously because it's with a full band. It still sounds really good, but it loses some of that soft subject matter like it has on the album. So overall, it sounds really good live, because they all do, but I do like the album version better of this one.
Yeah, no, I agree. I love this song. I don't think it's really the greatest rendition of it. Maybe I'm not trying to be harsh. Like, again, they're all great at what they do. Some songs just aren't as good live, and I think that this is one of them.
Jessie, you're right that this is not my favorite song on Witch Hazel, but it's actually my favorite song on this live album.
Oh my gosh, like the twists and turns we're taking tonight.
Yeah.
Like, I'm on the edge of my seat now. I literally cannot. I don't know. I could go any direction.
This is great.
I think this is a really
great.
beautiful live version, and I think it totally enhances what's on the album. It has a warmer feeling. Like, to my ears, the acoustic guitar is more emphasized, higher in the mix. The female backing vocals, Cecilia's backing vocals, are a little more prominent. I really love that fade out, about 1 minute 47 seconds in. It's on the original song where he kind of starts singing, "Oh, Rosie." Just something about his vocal tone and the way he sings it on the live album, just makes my heart skip a beat.
Aww.
I know that feeling because I hear it every time. It happens every time I hear the live version of Take My Hand.
I know.
Aww.
So, yeah. Well, good. I'm glad you like that version of it better because I think it's a really sweet song, and I don't even care if you like the live version or the album. It, doesn't matter to me. I just think it's a really, really, really sweet song. And
Yeah, I love that song.
Yeah.
It's so good.
So even live, I still give it 4 stars. I still really love it.
It's 5 stars for me.
5 stars! Yay! That makes me so happy. Like, I'm emotionally invested in this.
We got one. Yeah, we got a 5-star out of her.
I'm not made of stone.
Yay. I'm going to say 3.5 just because I think I really like the original so much that I don't want to say I'm let down. That sounds like way too harsh. I just really prefer the original. That's all. It's not bad.
Totally
Nothing
valid.
wrong with that.
I'm allowed to have opinions.
You absolutely are. That's why we do this. Because everybody is dying to know our opinions.
I know, right?
Next we get Medicine from Kill the Wolf.
I don't think it's going to be a surprise to hear that I'm not the biggest fan of this version of it. The intro where he just like kind of screams medicine? No. No thanks. No.
It is a very shouty version.
Very shouty. Yeah.
It is shouty, but I think like So Low, I think the shoutiness of it just works better because of the full backing of the band. So I think even though it's still very shouty, it's not quite as noticeable as it is on the album version. I think this version also sounds a little bit more mellow than that one does, but that could just be my imagination because it doesn't sound as shouty to me.
Honestly, my notes on this song are pretty much identical to my notes on So Low. Looking at them side by side in my paper in front of me, like I'm realizing that I basically said the same things about both songs.
I did too.
I like this version. I definitely don't skip past it, but to me it kind of loses the intensity of the original. It is shoutier, which I don't know quite work. And just like on So Low, I think that the live version on Live from a Festival and the Gather Up box set is just infinitely superior. I love that version. For those of you who have not heard it, it's actually the first song, I believe, on that Live from a Festival disc. And it's Medicine, which segues right into So Low, just kind of a direct transition. And the energy is so high, it's so driving. I just can't hear this and not wish I was hearing that.
I actually like the fact that it seemed less intense. I like the fact that it's lost some of the shout. Well, you think it's more shouty, and I think the shoutiness kind of like blends in a little bit better. So I don't know. It's not my favorite one of his songs. I give it 3 stars. I think that's what I gave the album version to. I do think it sounds better live.
3 stars sounds about right for me too.
I'm gonna give it 2.5. I think that like I've heard a few live versions of Medicine, and I prefer the live versions of Medicine.
I do too.
I don't like the album. Like I just don't like the album version. So like compared to it, I don't remember what I gave Medicine. It was probably a 2, so this is an improvement with a 2.5.
I think because it doesn't feel like it fits on the album, but I feel like it fits better as a live version. Like it sounds like something you would expect to hear live.
You can definitely hear, though, how at a live show this would be a song that would get everyone really pumped up.
Yeah, I agree. It's not my favorite song, but I would love to hear it live. Just like So Low, too. I would love to hear that one.
Really, I'd love to hear anything live.
I know, right? Just
Just
do something.
We'd be losing our minds no matter what. If they played... Like, if he played Nothing But Rain Came Down on repeat, we'd be like, yeah, this is amazing. Best concert ever.
Slow your roll, Tara. Slow your roll. Don't know if I'd go that far.
And All Rain Came Down and Jet Setter, Bill.
Holy crap, man.
I wouldn't mind a Jet
really concocted a scenario where I would not want to go to that show. I'd be like, can I just meet you after? I'll like go to the beginning and then I'll go after and, we'll say hi to Matt at the merch table.
Yeah, because he's going to finger gun us, though, and he'll be like, where's Jessie? He'll be on stage and be like, where's Jessie going? We're like, should we be here for this?
Does not approve of set list.
No.
Oh gosh. Anyway, next up comes Devil Inside from Kill the Wolf. And the hell was that?
What?
I don't know.
I just turned
No,
around in
that's
my
okay, too.
chair. Did that make a noise?
Yeah.
Holy crap, it sounded
Yeah,
like
it
Because
was
I've got
like-
my record behind me, because it says Devil Inside on Spotify,
Yes.
and I was checking to see if
That's
it said Devil Inside or Devil
exactly-
Inside Me on the
exactly
album.
what I
Yeah,
was-
sorry.
it sounded like a shotgun.
You scared the shit out of Jessie. You should have seen her
What?
face.
What noise did it make?
It sounded like a shotgun.
Yeah, it is. It's Devil Inside Me on the album.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
Spotify's just wrong. I actually put that in my notes. I said called Devil Inside Me on album and Devil Inside Me on live, Devil Inside on live version, but it's just Spotify that's wrong. Yeah, okay.
Come try to find me, don't ever wake me. Stay close by me, don't ever lie to me. You don't say a word, you look straight at me. That's all I need now, the devil's inside me. All that I could be is all that I'll ever be. Obsessed with this journey of houses and money, with nothing to play for, no one looks at me. That's all I need now, the devil's inside me. Hello, yeah, I'm not too sure who I'm meant to be. Did you want the priest or the adversary? I blow your mind when I'm up high to fall back down again. It's
This is one of the other songs alongside Song for Rosie, which I actually feel is really enhanced by the live version, and where I actually prefer the live version to what's on the album. And I like the song a lot. Unlike Song for Rosie, I'm really, really a big fan of the album version, but this live version to me just kind of amps it up a notch. It's high energy, it builds on the energy of the original. I love Matt's deep, ominous vocals. I love the kind of slightly faster tempo, which really makes the song feel more intense. I think it's cool how the guitar replicates the fiddle sound on the original. I do sort of miss the fiddle, but it feels like the live band really replicates that tone and that just kind of overall vibe really nicely. And so yeah, I've got nothing bad to say about this live version. I think it's fantastic.
So to me, part of what makes the album version so good is the fiddle. And it's obviously missing in the live version because they didn't have a fiddle player. The guitar does do a fair job at replicating that sound, but I miss that fiddle, the solo in the middle of the song, because instead of the fiddle solo that we get on the album, we get a synth solo. Nothing wrong with it at all. I think the live version is fantastic. And I get what you're saying about the high intensity. I really like that. And the faster tempo, I thought that might have been my imagination, but you noticed it too. So yeah, the live version is awesome. But this is one where I definitely like the album version better just because I really do miss that fiddle solo, because that's one of the things I really, really, really love about this song.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I agree completely with Courtney. I am not a huge fan of this song from the actual album. I don't dislike it or anything, but it's not my favorite. And I think that this version kind of blows it out of the water. I don't know. I think to me, honestly, again, from someone who doesn't love the song, I think that this is the best song on this album, and I really enjoy it.
So how many stars do you give?
I'm gonna give it a 4.75. I think just because I think it's so much better than the original. I think it's I don't remember what I said before. I think it's great.
Courtney, what about you?
I'm going to agree with 4.75. To me, it's just not one of his all-time classic songs, although I do like it a lot. But I think this is just a really, really fantastic live rendition. So yeah, 4.75.
I gave it 4 just because I'm missing the fiddle. I think they did a good job with the guitar. I think the synth solo is really cool, but it misses it. That's what makes the song for me, is the fiddle. And it's gone. It's not there. So 4
Someone
stars.
in that band has to be able to play the fiddle, right? They've got every other instrument
think
covered.
So, I mean, come on. They're all so talented. And I have
I'm sure they could pick it up if they wanted to.
Yeah, I've seen a fiddle on stage with them before. I think they were playing with Pugwash, and there was a fiddle player on stage. I don't know in what capacity. I don't know who she was with, but I don't know. But they must have one that they can used. There's gotta be. The last song is The Pheasant. And we asked James Sedge, what's your favorite song to play live? And his response was, The Pheasant always has the band look at each other in anticipation just as we start because it's such a journey. And I absolutely love that response because he is so right. It is a journey.
Look at the pheasant fly. Flying so high, such a beautiful sight. The evening sun is like a summer sky. They will return.
For me, there are definite differences. First of all, The Pheasant from Witch Hazel. So the guitar solos on the live version are quite a bit punchier, and both versions just kind of have their own mood. I think The Pheasant live is just a little bit more hardcore, which is cool. The album version, like Solstice, it just is a little bit cleaner and more curated. The live version is like looser and heavier. It's got heavier bass and drums, and it just feels like an overall really awesome jam session. I think the vocals are better on the album version because they're more layered, but they're just both amazing. Like, they're different, but equally amazing.
I would agree with all of that, except for the vocals being better on the album version, because I actually kind of prefer the live vocals. I had written in my notes that I find them more expressive in this version. I really love, there's this point around 3 minutes 50 seconds in, can you tell that I took timestamps and everything, where Cecilia's backing vocals come in, and she has this like sort of deep, almost like droning isn't quite the right word, but these really deep kind of flat vocals that I haven't really heard from her before, and it works so well. It provides this grounding for Matt's vocals that is just really cool to hear.
The sky, flying so high, king of the sky, flying so high, king of the sky, across the autumn fields, flying so high, way where I feel, king of the sky.
I wanted to tell you guys that I almost hit a pheasant again the other day.
God.
I don't know if you remember when we were originally discussing the pheasant, and I was like, oh, like I almost hit one. No, I did hit one once. And I just wanted to tell you that because I think it was coming to me because we were about to do this album. It was just standing on the side of the road, and then it flew into my car as I was driving by. So pheasants are stupid. I just want everybody to know that. And I agree completely with what all of you guys said. I thought this was like, I really liked it, and I didn't mind that it went on forever.
Oh,
I really liked
thank
it.
God.
Wow.
Also,
Progress.
Yeah.
for the love of all pheasants, we should probably just not ever discuss the pheasant again, just because you seem to manifest something and it's just not good for them physically.
Tara, I saw an armadillo the other day and I immediately thought of our conversation.
Oh, you didn't take a picture of it?
I didn't know. I was driving.
That's fair. That don't do it, you know?
Is it actually
An
alive?
accident.
Yeah, it's the state animal of Texas.
Well, normally when I see them, they're like dead on the side of the road because they don't understand cars. So they think they're invincible. So they don't move. They just let the car hit them.
I said leprosy reservoirs.
They're so dumb.
They're just vermin.
But this one was alive, though, right? He was going about his happy little armadillo life.
There's your throwback for those of you who are already nostalgic for our Witch Hazel days.
I completely forgot we even talked about that. Oh gosh, yeah. Anyway, I think we're all in agreement on the pheasant. 5 stars, right?
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
No, I give it 5 stars. I did not give the original 5 stars, but I think that this is like a really kick-ass version of it.
Well, awesome.
I don't remember what I gave the original. I make up all these ratings on the fly. Sometimes I regret them later. That's okay. That's part of life. I don't remember what I gave the original, but I'm going to give this 4 stars.
4 stars.
Still good.
What could it have done to be better?
I'm just not that big on the pheasant.
Oh, you're not that into the song to begin with. I thought you liked this one.
apologies, Matt. I think there's just limits to my love of really intense prog rock and really intense synthesizers, and I think this song might be just over that threshold for me.
You reached your limit.
Still good though. Got a 4.
I think we've done it. I think we've broken down successfully. There was some heartbreak along the way. I'll probably have cry myself to sleep tonight, if I'm being honest.
No, this is what I feared. Guys, are we still friends?
Oh, we're still friends.
She
We're
looks
still
sad.
friends.
You can't see her, but Jessie looks sad. She's like
She just put her
exasperated.
head in her hands as she said that.
Yeah.
I'll get
It
over
wasn't-
it. I'll get over it eventually.
It wasn't the reassuring response I was really digging for.
Not at all.
So as a little extra bonus on this one, we decided to pull out a couple of our favorite live versions of Matt's songs. And also we decided to pick out a favorite cover version that he's done live. So it should come as a surprise to absolutely no one that my favorite song that Matt does live is Take My Hand. And my favorite version, after much careful consideration, was the version from April 9th, 2014 at The Garage. The video was uploaded by Epidemic271 on YouTube, and we'll put all of our links to these videos in the description of the episode. But I just really love this one. There's another one that I really love too, and he just seems like he's having a lot of fun when he's at this show. I don't know what else happened at this show. I think I've seen other videos, but he just really looks like he's having a lot of fun with this version. It's a little bit more upbeat. He's got some extra zip and a little extra pizzazz, and I think it's very cute. Favorite live cover that he did was Live and Let Die by Paul McCartney, and it was with Thomas Walsh and Pugwash at Bristol Fleece on May 12th, 2013. That one was uploaded by MRaux, MRAUX, on YouTube. I really like seeing them on stage together. Courtney's gonna know exactly what video this is when she clicks that link. I really love this song. It's one of my favorite Paul McCartney songs. Thomas Walsh sings it so well, and it's just a really great cover. They're good together. They have so much chemistry on stage. You can tell that they're just really good friends, and it's just a happy song.
So for me, it was hard to pick, but my favorite live song from Matt, it's on YouTube. It's titled Matt Berry, One Track Lover / Woman Live, and it is by user E3 Tiger. It says Matt Berry and the Maypoles live at 229 for the Acid Jazz 25th year anniversary, Friday 9th November 2012. And if you know anything about me, I'm a big fan of Garth Marenghi, and One Track Lover is where I first heard Matt sing, so this really gets me. I think everybody who is there listening to this live is just absolutely the luckiest bunch of people in the world, because it went from One Track Lover into Woman, which is just, that's how perfect.
That's like curated
Just
for you.
Yeah, exactly. And now I have One Track Lover stuck in my head, and it will be stuck in there for probably a couple weeks now. As for a live cover version, Matt's rendition of I Saw the Light by Todd Rundgren, it's phenomenal. And I had trouble finding the live version of it, but I knew it was out there, and Jessie, with her amazing searching skills, was able to find it on YouTube. And I've always loved this song, and when I first heard Matt do a cover of it, my heart skipped a beat. I know that sounds silly, but it did. Like, I got really excited. When your favorite artist does a cover of one of your favorite songs, it means something to you, it kind of hits home a lot. And he obviously loves the song, and it means something to him, so you kind of feel like there's some kind of camaraderie there. Again, I have quite the fanciful thinking, but I was just trying to find it. It's on YouTube, and it's on YouTube Shorts. We'll post a link of it later. I couldn't find it because it started playing, and I didn't want to screw up our recording.
I love Todd Rundgren too. That whole Something Anything album is really, really good. He's kind of a character, which I really like. I follow him on Instagram, and his Instagram is really cool. It's a lot of fan art. I'd like to see him live. He's still touring and doing live shows. He would be a really cool person to see live.
Agreed.
I will try to track down this article, but I read a really interesting piece sometime last year. I want to say it was like a 15-year, something like that, retrospective article on Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, Matt's first show, as many of you are probably aware. Well, except for Game Over, which he did in the late 90s, but we don't count that.
He doesn't anyway.
He sure doesn't. And it had a sidebar about how One Track Lover got written, like the genesis of the song. And it was actually slowed down. It was like a piece of background music. And Matthew Holness and Richard Ayoade were kind of commenting how it actually sounded like an 80s synth song. And so as a joke, Andrew Hewitt, the composer, sped it up and made it like this, upbeat 80s song, and that turned into One Track Lover. And it was originally going to be for Garth Marenghi to sing, but at that point Matt had already recorded Opium, even though he hadn't distributed it, and they're like, oh, turns out Matt Berry can sing, let's give it to
That's so funny.
Huh.
That's like a big break for him too, that song.
Oh, yeah.
That's so funny.
I might be fudging the details of that story, so if anyone has read the article I'm talking about and, it's like, actually, you're missing this important detail, feel free to chime in. That's kind of going off memory. But yeah, that's the genesis of One Track Lover.
All right, Courtney, what did you dig up for us?
So, for my cover, my show is also from the garage, although a little bit earlier, from April 26, 2011. Matt tends to play a lot of the same venues over and over at different tours, or at least he did. So a lot of these videos are going to be from the same places, but different years. There is a video posted by Sigh S-I-G-H Kid, of Matt performing Jesus Christ Superstar. I believe he actually played this as the encore performance for every show on this tour. And so there's a handful of videos out there of him performing Jesus Christ Superstar, or actually I think more accurately Superstar from the Jesus Christ Superstar soundtrack. But this is my favorite. He is having so much fun with it. He's so into it. You can just see the look on his face. Like, you can tell he's just like, I'm getting paid to do this. I'm getting paid to sing the Jesus Christ Superstar theme in front of a crowd of adoring fans. Like, this is a man who is living his dream, and you can just tell. He, pauses in the middle to chug a beer. He's just living his best life. And it's just a lot of fun and really infectious. This is actually a song I haven't gone so far as to rip the MP3 or anything, but sometimes I'll put on this video on my earbuds and just, let it play in the background as I'm doing chores or things around the house. It just works as a piece of music, and this might be blasphemous to some people, no pun intended, but this has actually kind of replaced the version of Superstar on the original soundtrack as my favorite version of this song. When I hear it, I hear Matt's version. So there it is.
I don't think it's blasphemous. And I don't think his version he adds a little bit to it.
It's a little funkier.
Yeah. Because I don't think the original version has, that's me. He's like, Jesus Christ. He's like, that's me.
Yeah, he does this in all the live versions where he has these little interjections like, Jesus Christ, I'm here.
Yeah. He embellishes it a lot. It's really cute. Also sad that I know that because I love that album.
Oh, I know all the versions of him performing the song, note for note, gesture for gesture, but this one has just seared my brain.
I wonder what his actual favorite song from that is. Do you think it's that one? Or do you just think that's the obvious choice if you're going to reference Jesus Christ Superstar?
I think this is probably the one that has the most energy and therefore the obvious choice for an encore performance, just to leave the crowd on a pumped up note.
Yeah, that could be.
What do we think is his favorite song? My favorite song from Jesus Christ Superstar is Everything's All Right. So
mine is Heaven on My Mind.
That's a good one.
Freaking listen to that song on a loop. It's just, I love it. It gives me goosebumps. So good. Yeah. I've never seen it. I've never seen the show. I've just only listened to the album. Because my mom had it. Yeah, my mom, it's kind of funny. My mom had that album when I was growing up. And it's one of her favorites. And we're Jewish. And I always thought it was so weird that she had that album. I'm like, what the hell? Jesus Christ Superstar. Are we even allowed to have that? It just seems so weird to me. And I was always very curious about it for that same reason, because I didn't think that we were supposed to have it in our house. I thought it was something religious, and I was always really interested in it, and I wanted to listen to it for that reason, and I really loved it. And then I realized, probably most people think it might be blasphemous, but I don't know. It's just the music is really amazing. But that was my first draw to it, was because I didn't think I should be drawn to it, so of course, I was drawn to it. It seemed like forbidden fruit to me.
Forbidden fruit, yeah.
Yes.
I had never listened to this album until I heard Matt rave about it and recommend it as an influence over and over and over in interviews. And then I listened to it and loved it. And actually, the last time my family's in Florida, not that far from Jessie, and the last time I was down in Florida visiting them, I picked up my mom's copy too. When I say picked up, I can more accurately say stole, just absconded with. And it's great. It sounds fantastic on vinyl. I know my mom's probably listening, so thank you, Mom. Sorry for snatching your copy.
That's so funny. So my mom still has it, and it's like mint condition. And she's already said, take whatever records of mine that you have, because my mom has a really amazing record collection. She's kept everything from the golden years when she was in college. So like the early 70s and high school in the late 60s. So she's got really good albums. And she's like, just take whatever you want. She's like, I don't really listen to them. I'm like, no, you have a record player. You might want to listen to them. So I actually found an original copy of Jesus Christ Superstar in just my local record store. It was $5. And I'm like, okay,
wow.
Well, this is definitely going to be a placeholder, but it's in really, really good condition too. So now it's just an extra copy. I don't know which one exactly she has. It's not an original pressing, but it's an early one for sure. Like the date is right, but it's not like worth anything. It's not a special one or anything, but $5. I'm like, all right, now I don't have to steal hers. I can just listen to my own.
Yeah, mine's seen better days. The box is falling apart.
Yeah.
I'm in the process of moving some furniture around because they're putting a new carpet. It's been a whole thing. And right now all my records are stacked, and I think the Jesus Christ Superstar box is at the bottom.
Oh,
so
God.
I fully expect that it's going to be just no longer a box, just a flat piece of cardboard.
Oh no, that's how my George Harrison one is. She's got that one too. It's the All Things Must Pass box set, and that's the same thing happened. I found it in the same store the same day, $5, and the records are perfect. They're like near mint. It even still has the original poster in the box, but the outside box is just a mess. So I'll have to see. Maybe hers will match up with mine because she's got it too. She doesn't have the poster in hers though. So maybe one day if the numbers on it match, maybe we can do a little swapsy thing with the the crushed box and the good box. We'll see.
I just have to say, I need to do some record shopping in Central Florida because you have amazing luck with finds that would not exist in Austin. They'd be snatched up so fast.
It's so weird that like in my town and then like just neighboring little towns and then I mean I'm only like 40 minutes from Tampa, so with that too I've had really good luck with our local stores. I don't know if it's just because people don't really collect here. It's a lot of older people and they're like trying to purge their records, not get new ones. But yeah, I've been really, really lucky. I love like the $5 bins and the dollar bins. Those are always the ones I go to first. So I've found some good stuff in there, definitely. Have I mentioned that that's a dream of mine to go record shopping with Matt?
That's a dream of
weird?
all of ours. We'll have to share.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have a group outing. It'll be a podcast outing.
Yeah.
Matt, pitch you the idea. We got on such a tangent that I haven't talked about my favorite original video.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh,
actually,
yeah.
I was torn here between two songs from the same show. My original pick, I'm going to cheat here and say my original pick and my actual pick. And see, by doing that, I get to have two picks.
I almost did that too.
But my original pick was going to be a video posted by, again, Epidemic 271 from the in-store show at Rough Trade, East London from September 27th, 2011. This is a combined version of the Snuffbox theme and Take My Hand. He would occasionally, back in those days, kind of around the time of the Snuffbox DVD release, do this really gorgeous acoustic version of the song, probably closer than anything to Love is a Fool Again from Opium. It would actually kind of merge elements of theme from Snuffbox and Love is a Fool Again. And it really just brought out the emotion in the song, kind of the emotional core. It brought out the sort of heartbreaking longing in the song, and it really, really works in that version. And then he'd merged into Take My Hand, which of course is beautiful acoustic, that goes without saying. So that was my original pick. Now what I actually picked, I'm being obnoxious,
Cheater!
From the same show. This video is also posted by Kid. Thank you, Kid. You're doing the Lord's work. Of Reach for the Ground. And, you know, we talked about this when we talked about opium, but there's some stuff in opium that doesn't necessarily work nowadays. This is not one of those songs. This song really holds up and is just a kind of gorgeous, longing ballad. It's something that I wish he would dust off, and he does a really sweet, emotional rendition of it at this show. He has a funny little kind of preface about how it's horrible advice to reach for the ground in a city like London. I don't know if he means it literally or figuratively or both, but those are my 2 recommendations. Sorry, I know I'm cheating.
That's okay. They were both really good recommendations. I don't know if I've seen that first one with the snuff box, take my hand combo, but
you're gonna love it.
Yeah, I've seen the reach for the ground one, and it's really good, and I totally agree. He needs to get back on that song. I think that's it. We just had a little bit of housekeeping to do from the last episode. It was really just one thing that we wanted to mention. We posted on Instagram, somebody had asked us to know what the actual albums look like, the blue one versus the white one. I posted a picture of the front cover and the back cover. Couldn't find a good picture of the blue one, but it does look identical to the white one. Then we asked, not so subtly, in the comments, we tagged Ben Meadows in the post to see if he knew anything about the red Converse on the back cover of Music for Insomniacs. And we just wanted to know if he forgot to put on boots, if it was an oversight, what it was, if there was a reason for it. Ben replied and said, well, that picture is now over 10 years old, so I don't remember a lot or any discussion of shoes. Jarre, as in Jean-Michel Jarre, is Matt's hero, and he favors Converse skate-style trainers. Maybe that's why he decided to wear them that day. So, interesting. I just think that's a little bit of a glimpse, though, into maybe Matt's inner workings, that maybe there was a reason for it. Maybe it was a shout out to his hero, and just how he doesn't really overlook any little detail. Like, his attention to detail is just incredible. Whether the photographer is aware of it or not, it sounds like maybe he did do it on purpose. So I think that's really cool. A little bit of insight. Regardless of the reason, they work for him, and I would really like to see them again.
Yeah.
Well, we have completely dissected the live album and shared some anecdotes from James Sedge about what it's like touring with Matt and the Maypoles. If you haven't already kind of picked this up, we would love to see Matt tour again. So Matt, if you're listening, we'll just end with this final plea. Please, please, please start playing live again. We would love to see more videos, and a few of us, me, might actually be willing to fly overseas just to catch the live show.
I would fly overseas. My passport's up to date. Just tell me when. I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're definitely going.
I think that was
Buy the tickets first. And,
yeah. I think that was our burning question this episode. Will you ever tour again? Full stop. Well, question mark. Full stop.
Because I think the last time that Matt has really consistently played live was in support of the Small Hours, and that was the end of 2016, right?
Yeah.
He made an appearance with Emma Noble this March, playing Beatmaker at one of her shows. I think that was the last time he was on a live stage. No, he did that show of Saint Etienne in 2017 too.
Yes.
So there's been a couple of kind of sporadic live appearances, but no tour. We demand a tour as your most fanatic supporters.
Not a tour. Just play one show. We'll go see it. Just give us a heads up so we can get tickets.
I don't know if this is the enticement that we think it is. He's like, what the fuck? I don't want to run into those girls. I better not tour. They're over this.
I don't think he's ever done any shows in North America.
Nope.
I mean,
and he said that he would love to play in LA. He's even named, I don't remember offhand what the venue was, but he even named a venue that he wanted to play in LA.
I don't want to go to LA. You do New York instead.
Toronto.
New York.
He's there filming.
Yeah,
do
Toronto.
Austin, Texas, the live music capital of the world.
So true. So true.
Come on, make it happen.
Don't come to Florida. It really sucks here. A North American
swim
show.
in the sea.
He could swim in the sea. I live a mile and a half from the beach with the best sand in the world.
Aw.
Yeah. Siesta Key, baby.
That's awesome. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've heard that.
Whitest and finest sand in the entire world.
Thank you all for listening. Thank you for making it this far with us. Hopefully you have some new YouTube videos to check out, and please share your own favorites. Give us some recommendations as well.
We'd also like to give a big thank you to James Sedge for getting back to us with some really thoughtful and interesting answers to our questions. We'll be using more of James' responses on future episodes, so stay tuned for that.
Check us out on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok under Obsessed Obscure. We also have a Discord. We'll post the link for that with this episode. Till next time.